Are you ready to unlock the power within? To let go of fear, embrace vulnerability, and step into a life of alignment and fulfillment? Welcome. I'm Valina Stavropoulou, and this is a journey of unbecoming, discovering a version of yourself you never knew existed. What does it mean to unbecome? It's about release, surrender, radical acceptance, and so much more. But what can unbecoming do for you? In each episode, I guide you on a journey to overcome self-doubt, set empowering boundaries, and uncover the untapped potential within you. Through honest storytelling, insightful interviews, and reflections drawn from my own experience of living with MS, you will find inspiration to face life's hurdles, embrace your authentic self, and thrive. Are you ready to cultivate deeper self-love, experience more joy, and live a life guided by purpose? It all starts now. Welcome everyone. I'm Valina, your host, and I'm really excited you're here with me today. So I'll start with something that might sound counterintuitive, maybe even controversial coming from a life coach. What if the search for your life's purpose is the very thing keeping you from living it? We've been taught that finding our purpose is the holy grail of a meaningful life. The answer to all our restlessness, the key to lasting fulfillment. But what if the search itself has become the problem? So today we're talking about purpose, but not in the way you might expect. We're not here to help you find it, manifest it, or rush your way toward it. Instead, we are going to explore what happens when you stop chasing purpose and you allow it to find you. In a world that tells you to grind harder, manifest bigger, and optimize everything, including your sense of meaning, what would it look like to soften? What would it look like to release, to surrender, to radically accept what is, and to repurpose the very idea of purpose itself? If you've ever felt that persistent ache in you of there must be more than this, or if you've achieved all that you thought you wanted but still feel unfulfilled, you're in the right place. Sometimes the most profound discoveries happen not when we're reaching for something, but when we finally stop grasping and learn to receive what's already here. So let's begin. So much of what I create comes from stories, my own, my clients, my friends, like real people navigating real lives. And the theme of purpose comes up again and again. Culturally, we've been taught that purpose equals productivity. That it's, the title of your business card, the legacy you leave behind and you're building to leave behind, the visibility you gain. It can feel like something you always have to strive for, a destination you haven't quite reached yet. And then it comes the pressure of hustle culture, that constant messages to work harder, post more, or even manifest your way there. Vision boards can be a beautiful part of discovering our purpose and manifesting it. They often begin as inspiration, as like a spark of what might be possible out there, but they can also turn into pressure. Instead of reminding us of what is possible, they start reminding us of what we don't yet have, that somehow we're still not there. And here's the problem. When purpose is tied to achievement, it becomes a moving target. You take one box and immediately another appears. And the chase never ends. Now, the emotional cost becomes real, the burnout, the self-abandonment, and that growing belief that no matter what you do, it will never be enough.
So let me share this with you. A few months ago, I started working with a client in her 50s. She's a self-made woman running her own business who, from the outside, seems and actually does have, she has conquered it all. Yet she confessed something that still felt missing. She couldn't name it, but nothing gave her that lasting happiness that she longed for. Not the money, not the traveling around the world, not the new project. That constant chase didn't cure that ache of unfulfillment. And that's exactly where we're working on together, separating her sense of purpose from her achievements, finding meaning that's rooted not in what she produces, but in the values that truly inspire her. It is a process to change perspective and start learning that purpose is not something out there to catch. In fact, it's something you can live into right now. So before we move further, let's reflect here. Where in your life have you equated purpose with pushing harder? Where have you believed fulfillment was waiting for you only once you achieved something else? Let those questions sit with you for a moment. Let them linger. Because we will now open the door to what purpose really is and why it so often arrives in the very moments we stop chasing it. Back in 2016, when I first began my journey to become a coach, I carried those burning questions within me. Who am I? What is my purpose in this world? And truthfully, I think that those questions had been with me since I was much younger. Maybe it circles in your mind too, maybe not. So back then, I thought that purpose had to be a single clear answer, like a role, a mission, something to define me forever, something unmovable. What I've come to realize is that purpose rarely shows up like that. It's not one neat sentence. It's something we live into moment by moment, season by season, shaped by our experiences, but also our choices. I cannot tell you how many times I hear the same phrase today from friends, from clients, from the people around me. I do not know what my purpose is. And it leaves me wondering, why do we feel like we must know? Why do we put so much pressure on ourselves to have a clear answer for something that is so vast? The pressure can be paralytic. It can stop us before we even begin. Purpose isn't something you chase down like a finish line. It somehow finds you right in the middle of living your life. And yes, of course, for some it shows up early and clearly. For example, the person who adores animals and becomes a vet, or one that loves teaching and naturally will follow that path. But for many of us, purpose is not a straight road. It's something we grow into. Purpose tends to appear not when we're trying to find answers, but when we allow the space to explore. While when we trust the process of living. Looking back, the moments I felt most connected to purpose were the times I wasn't striving the hardest. There were actually the times that I let things be, either wanted it or not. And I know, that's easier said than done, but absolutely miraculous when it happens. There is such a difference trusting action and between trusting action and fronting action. One feels nourishing and the other draining. One flows with you and the other fight against you. And that's the invitation to move in trust and not intention. Purpose is not fixed. It is not a single job title or one grand mission that explains everything. It's renewable, it's fluid, it's flexible, it's seasonal. It grows as you grow. It becomes as you unbecome. And the thing is that your purpose is not somewhere out there waiting to be found. It is already within you, waiting to be uncovered beneath all that noise, the shoulds, and the strong beliefs that it needs to look a certain way. So let me ask you something here. What if your purpose was not a single destination, but the way you saw up in each season of your life? How would that change the way you live today? Let's widen the lens a little and add here the role of manifestation, because it often shows up whenever we talk about purpose. When we think about purpose, many of us immediately link it with manifestation. As I mentioned before, the vision boards, the affirmations, we have to hold ourselves up, very detailed plans of our dream life. And you know what? Like, all those practices are beautiful. They give us clarity, a sense of direction, the excitement of the possibilities that's out there waiting for us. But here is what I would like you to think about today. Manifestation doesn't hand you the steering wheel of life. What it actually does, it invites you to sit in the passenger seat to enjoy the ride together. How does that sound? When we treat manifestation like control, it becomes another form of hustle. We grip tightly, compare ourselves to timelines that we cannot control, and most importantly, measure our worth against outcomes. And then, when life brings the unexpected, whether that's a diagnosis, a global shift, or like personal crossroads, the whole vision board can feel like it's crumbling in front of your eyes. So if you've ever felt let down by a manifestation, it is natural and it's understandable. But it is not manifestation that doesn't work. It's the life, it's that basically life is inviting us to shift from control to co-creation. Let me bring you back to the client I mentioned earlier, the woman in her 50s who had achieved so much yet felt unfulfilled. What I didn't say before is how deeply she believed that manifestation was the only answer. She had the vision boards, the 5-year plans, the affirmation that worked. And she had manifested, of course, with hard work and planning, so much: the career, the home, the financial freedom. And again, on paper, it looked like success. And it was a success. It is a success. But what she discovered through the coaching sessions together is that she had been focused on manifesting in the life she thought she wanted, that she never stopped to ask what life itself was offering her. All those achievements were basically borrowed definitions of success that she had executed perfectly. We began exploring what would happen if she stopped asking life to match her vision board and instead started listening to what life was already offering. Her breakthrough came when she shifted from asking, "How can I make this happen?" to "What is trying to emerge through me?" So instead of forcing her next chapter, she began listening and noticing. And she said yes to something small and unaccepted, which was volunteering to her local library. It had never been on her vision board, but yet it deeply aligned with her. And that simple yes opened the door to a sense of purpose that she couldn't have planned. That's what co-creating with life looks like. My client didn't abandon her tools. She still set the goals, she still used her vision boards, her affirmations, but she stopped treating, especially the vision boards, like a contract. She began using them as a compass while allowing life to steer. And this is where intentions come in. Goals have kept her rigid and outcome focused, but intentions gave her space to breathe. They allowed her to stay aligned no matter where life led her next. This shift changes not just how we see purpose, but how we relate to our own plans and desires. In times of uncertainty, goals can feel like driving down a road where the signs keep changing. You think you're headed one way, but life reroutes you. Goals are important, but they're not the finish line. Intentions, though, intentions travel with us. They bend, they shift, they adapt, keeping us connected to what truly matters, no matter how unpredictable the road becomes. When a goal softens into intention, it stops being rigid, it becomes more forgiving, more spacious. It invites us to grow alongside life instead of wrestling with it. Again, vision boards are wonderful tools, but like every tool, they work best when they welcome flexibility. There isn't one definition, one rule, one right way to use your resources. There is only your way. We've covered a lot until now, from hustling for purpose to allowing it to emerge to living more aligned and intentional. If there is one thing I want you to carry forward, it's this. Purpose is not an outcome. Purpose is energy. It's the presence you bring into your life moment by moment. So you wonder, how do you discover your purpose, especially if the very question often feels heavy? We often think purpose is this big external thing we need to go and find. But what if purpose is actually the most ordinary thing in the world? Think about it. A river doesn't question its purpose, it just flows naturally. A tree doesn't hustle, to become a tree. It unfolds itself season by season. Think about it. What if purpose is the same? Not something exotic you need to discover on a mountaintop, but something as natural as the way you're breathing. One of the simplest ways to reconnect with this is to experiment. Give yourself small practices that invite purpose to show up in your everyday life. Let me tell you a few ways to play with this. 1. Choose a guiding word for the season ahead. It may not be the season ahead, maybe the week ahead, the month ahead. Choose what you like. Something that really reminds you of how you want to feel. For example, you want to feel ease, courage, presence. Think about it as a word which is a compass for the days ahead, the season ahead. 2nd, map your days to how you want to feel, not just what you want to achieve. So instead of a to-do list that proves your worth, I invite you to create a to-feel list that keeps you aligned and grounded. And the third way, say yes to small, meaningful choices. The phone call you've been putting off, a breathwork workshop you've wanted to attend but keep postponing, joining the local Sunday walking group you've been curious about. These little yeses repeated create a life that feels deeply yours. For me, those quiet mornings with my coffee, no phone, no agenda, that's when I feel mostly like myself. After years of searching, I realize daily that my purpose wasn't and isn't hiding only in the big milestones. It's right here in the quality of presence I bring to everything, like even something as simple as that cup of coffee that I love. And maybe that's the key. Purpose doesn't need to be hunted down in extraordinary moments. It reveals itself in ordinary ones when we allow ourselves to be fully present. And that's why I call the following practice I'd like to share the beauty in the ordinary. So here's how it works. For the next 7 days, I'd like you to notice one moment each day when you feel completely yourself, when there is no performance, no second guessing. Maybe it's when you're preparing your dinner, or how you arrange your space, or how you are explaining something you're very passionate about. Your purpose often hides in the plain sight, in the things you do so naturally you don't even think to call them special. Write them down, and at the end of the week, read them back. You might be surprised to find your purpose has been showing up all along, not in the extraordinary, but how you show up to the ordinary. And if you'd like to go a little bit deeper, let's just pause together for a moment. And if you're able to close your eyes for a minute or lower your gaze, if you prefer, though, you can come back to it later as a journaling practice or a little homework. And I'd like you to take a slow, deep breath in and breathe out. Close your eyes, lower your gaze, and I'd like you to imagine yourself sitting against the back of a tree where nothing is required of you. It's just you. And I'd like you to ask yourself, when do I feel most alive? What lights me up from within? If I stop pushing for answers, what might I hear more clearly? What does purpose mean for me? What do I already know about my purpose? Let images, words, memories, sensations come to you. No analyzing here, trust what comes first. And now breathe in. Exhale out. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. These small glimpses, these sparkles, are pieces of your purpose. They may not look grand, but they are true. They are the heartbeat of a purpose life, your purpose life. Purpose does not need to be chased. It reveals itself when you allow space, when you trust yourself enough to listen, to notice, and when you can see the beauty in the ordinary. So as we close today's conversation, I want to leave you with the words of Rumi. Let yourself be silently drawn by the strangest pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't need a perfectly crafted purpose statement or a 5-year plan that makes everyone else nod in approval. Your purpose is already moving through you, in the way you listen to a friend, in the kindness you offer to a stranger, in the moments when you choose authentically. It shows up in your curiosity, in what makes you pause and pay attention, in the values that guide your choices, even when no one is watching. Purpose is a way of being you grow into, so that take the pressure off. Allow yourself to be drawn to what truly lights you up, even if it doesn't look like anyone else's path. And remember, you don't find your purpose. You uncover it layer by layer, season by season, one ordinary sacred moment at a time. So if today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need that reminder too. Come and find me at my website, mindhierarchy.com, and on my Instagram at mindhierarchy. I'd love to hear your reflections. I'm Valina. This has been our journey of unbecoming. I'm truly grateful you were here with me today. And until next time, keep your mind and heart open. Keep repurposing your purpose. And as always, keep unbecoming.
I'm Valina Stavropoulou, and you have been listening to the journey of unbecoming, discovering a version of yourself you never knew existed. Tune in every first and third Thursday at 9 Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio for a space where you are seen, heard, understood, and deeply supported. Remember, you do not have to find your way back to your heart alone. Each episode invites you to explore what unbecoming means for your mind, body, spirit, and emotions, a transformative process of releasing what no longer serves you. This show is not just about overcoming challenges. It is about celebrating the beauty of letting go and stepping boldly into a life of joy, purpose, and self-confidence. For more information and to connect with me, visit mindhierarchy.com.